I am Arturo Guzman, Jr., interviewing my dad at 9:10 p.m. How are you
I'm
today?
doing fine. Thanks for having me.
Good. Now I want to ask you a couple questions. Is that fine?
Sure.
Okay. Now, first question: where were you born?
I was born and raised in Chicago all my life. I grew up here, I worked here, and I went to school here.
That's good. Now, as a child, how was life growing up for you?
I grew up in a nuclear family, so typical family. I had mom, dad. I had an older brother and a younger sister. So there was never a dull moment. Um, Having siblings I think, was fun and also a pain. But we get along great, and it was I wouldn't have it any other way.
Did you do any special have any special events or places that you went to when you were growing up?
There was a an event that happened when I was in grammar school. It was the winter of 1979. There was a blizzard, and needless to say, there was so much snow that school was canceled. So for a few days, and I think a lot of people did not go to work either because there was the snow really put a damper on the whole city. But as a kid, it was uh, it was wonderful because we loved playing in the snow. So my brother and I, uh, we you know we went outside. We were having snowball fights. One of the memories I have was my dad shoveling the snow in front of the garage so he can get his vehicle out. And so he made a mountain of snow so high that it reached the gutter line of the garage. And I remember my brother and I climbing this mountain of snow and being able to get on top of the roof of the garage with our sleds and sledding all the way down. Uh, and it was a pretty vivid memory I have when I was growing up. So yeah, the winter of '79 was an event that happened when I was growing up that I remember pretty clearly.
That sounds amazing and fun. Now, was it a snow? Actually, question number four. Go to if you can remember.
I went to a Catholic elementary school. It was called St. Philomena, and it was pretty strict. They had nuns and priests, and we had to go to church many times throughout the week. And we also had a religious school classes, that is. And growing up, though, I met, I had a lot of friends uh, that there are a couple of which I still talk to today. Um, but again, one of my memories from elementary school, especially later on when I was able to hang out with the kids in seventh and eighth grade, especially, was playing basketball on the team, and also after school playing football during the summertime uh, out in the courtyard. And I got plenty of exercise, had a lot of fun, and you know, hanging out with my friends. It's a good time.
That's good. Now, was it a struggle being successful growing up from elementary school, high school, college?
Um, I never really saw it as a struggle. I just did things as I thought needed to be done. Like when I got out of high school, I thought I need to get a job, and so I did. And this it wasn't that much of a struggle. I had friends that were able to get me into certain jobs, and the jobs that I did have, working at the airport, working at UPS, I had friends there, so I guess it was a struggle trying to wake up in the morning and get to work. But once I did that and now I was at work, it was fine. Sometimes it was hard work at the airport. It gets pretty cold in the winter, and at UPS it's nonstop schlepping packages, so you have to be careful you don't hurt yourself. But I have fun at whatever I was doing. I guess I was just a optimistic type of person, type of worker, and never saw it as a struggle. It was just something I had to do. I felt like I had to do for money. Yep.
That's good. That's good. Now, what do you do now as a profession?
Well, now it's I think a little different because my job is I'm a fireman for Chicago, and this job is the best job I've ever had in my entire life, and it's a serious job where I have the safety of myself and my co-workers, my firemen brothers, that we have to look out for each other, and as well as my own family. So my wife and my son that I need to think of when I'm at work. I need to be careful, and it's a good job. It pays well, and it's a job that I am able to sustain a family and maintain a household, and continue to do. And it's a very rewarding job because you can help people. They're very appreciative when you do help them. Most of them, anyways, and people kind of look up to you in a sense, and it gives you a good feeling. So when you're out, not just fighting fires, but a lot of our calls might be like accidents, and you got to help that person get them to the hospital if they need medical attention, or sometimes it's just calming their nerves. If they're in an accident, they're shaken up and they might not be thinking straight, and you're there and you calm them down and make them feel better, tell them it's going to be okay, and so it's a good job. It's very rewarding in many ways.
That's good. Now, besides that, would you say that you see yourself as a hero on your job? When you go out to runs and fight fires, or having to pull people out of buildings, or do CPR?
Well, it's definitely CPR. It's not every day that we're pulling people out of fires. I think that's more stuff that you see on TV. And no, I don't think of myself as a hero. As a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. Sometimes you worry about how safe is this going to be. Are you going to get hurt? Is there a chance for you to help somebody and to save their property? Because that's part of our mission statement. It's part of why we do what we do. We want to save their property and save lives. That's our main goal. But it's not something that, well, in my opinion, you shouldn't go into this job thinking that, oh, I'm going to be a hero, because that's going into it for the wrong reasons. I think if you're humble, and and if you truly want to help a person because you feel that's what your morality tells you to, then you're going to be more fulfilled in the job. You're going to live happier. I mean, if you're chasing the idea of being a hero, I think that that's not the right way to go about it. And that's just my opinion. That's the way I look at it. If another person wants to view firemen as heroes, then maybe they are. I mean, I look at the firemen in New York during 9/11, and sure, I would definitely think that those firemen are heroes. But as far as myself and the work I do every day, I don't view myself as a hero. I just kind of do what I do, and whenever an event or a situation arises where here in Chicago where the firemen are called, it comes automatic. You do the job that you were trained to do, because we do a lot of training, a lot of drilling, and then it just becomes automatic, and you don't think about being a hero. You do the job, and then you go back, and the main thing is being safe, and the safety of you, your firemen, and the public that we serve. Um, After all, that's how we get paid, is through the city. The city pays us, so we've got to do our best to give back and be good people and good firemen, and good at our jobs too.
That's good. Now, could you explain to all of us, how long have you been working as a firefighter, and do you have any doubts of becoming a firefighter, or are you scared every time you go on a run, afraid that something might happen to you?
Well, I had a little bit of doubts. I was working at UPS for quite some time before I got called to become a fireman, and really wasn't expecting. I took the test, the fireman test, that comes around once every 10 years. I took the test when I was 24 years old, and I didn't get hired for about 10 years after I took that test. So I was well into my job with UPS, and I was happy, and I was working. UPS is a good company. When I received the letter asking if I wanted the position as a firefighter, I was posed with a question, a life-changing event that I had to make a decision to and think about. It didn't take me that long, because fireman was definitely interesting. I mean, I wouldn't have taken the test, the entrance exam for the fireman, if I didn't want to become a fireman. But anytime you're going to make a big decision like that, it definitely makes you pause and think about, it's a life-changing event. So it's not a quick or easy, fast decision. You're thinking about, how's my life going to change? I was already set in a certain way of living, and so this was definitely going to be a difference physically. I took the test at 24. I didn't get hired till actually I was 36, so it was a little longer from the time they started hiring till they got to my number. And so becoming a fireman at 36 was something I needed to consider also. Being older, how am I going to fare physically, since it's a physically demanding job. But sure, I've been a fireman now for 12 years, and thinking back, I made the right decision. It was great. I went into the academy 100% mentally and physically. I remember preparing for the academy. I was jogging a couple miles, lifting weights, studying, and all through the academy, I kept telling myself that they are going to have to kick me out of this job because I'm not going to leave. And it was very physically demanding, and a lot of people did leave because they could not handle it mentally or academically. Everybody was required to pass certain tests, academic tests, emergency medical technician tests that were pretty difficult, and a lot of people didn't make the grade. I was very focused. I studied. I spent the time to read all the materials and made sure that I understood everything that was required of me, and I didn't have a problem with any of the tests, the quizzes, and likewise the physical portion of the job was very demanding. And same way, I wasn't gonna roll over and not finish a run or not finish the push-ups. So they pushed you very hard to the max, and I was right there. I wasn't going to back down. So the group of my academy class, I remember during graduation, at our graduation for our academy class was sometime in November around 2006, and it was in Navy Pier. And it was definitely one of the prouder moments of my life. Walking up on stage, receiving my certificate, my badge, and becoming a probationary candidate, firefighter. Because when you pass the academy, now you become a probationary firefighter. You're not a firefighter yet. You have to go a year in the field and then learn the ropes from the more experienced firefighters. So I remember walking into my firehouse right after the academy and meeting a whole group of people that I have never met before, and I was just all ears, and I was there to learn because I didn't know the job. And the house that I went at, the firehouse that I was at, had all experienced guys with many years of experience ahead of me, and I had to learn from them. So not only did I have to learn from the textbooks in the academy, but when you reach the firehouse and you're a probationary fireman, you have to actually learn the job in the field, doing the work from the more experienced firefighters. And it was a great experience. Some of these guys are some of my best friends right now. I see them every day, and it's funny when now when 12 years later, several years later, we get probationary firefighters that come in, and now it's my turn. I have to teach them the ropes and how to do certain things. As a probationary firefighter, you're expected to do certain things. You can't lay around. You have to be the first one to jump up, answer the phones, acknowledge the runs on the computer. You got to be the first one to jump up and do the dishes. You got to be the first one to jump up and sweep and wash the rigs, and always be available. You don't want to ever be considered a slouch. So that some people are, some people, as a candidate firefighter, they reach their firehouse and they don't have that work ethic, and that unfortunately that reputation follows you for the rest of your career, and then you're known as a load. So if you hear anybody say you're a load, it means that you're not a go-getter, that you're not the first one to jump up and do the job. And I definitely didn't want to be considered a load, so I wanted to be looked upon positively and a person that others can rely on, because when it comes down to it, this sort of job is a team effort. And so you have your chiefs, your captains, your lieutenants, and then your firefighters and your engineers, and everybody has a certain job. And in order for things to work well, everybody has to do their job and know their job. So yeah, it's the best job I've ever had. It's the most fulfilling job I've ever had, and I would, and I think I'm blessed for being at the place where I'm at, with people I know and the job that I have. Chicago is the third largest city in the United States, and so it's a big job, where you're serving 3 million plus people that live in within the city. So it's there's a lot of different things that we respond to. So yeah, it's like I said again, it's the best job in the world for me.
I like it. Now, do you do anything else exciting besides your job? Like, do you play instruments or?
Funny you should ask. When I was going back to grammar school, uh, I played guitar for the church choir on Saturdays, and it's something that I still do today. So it's my favorite hobby. I play guitar, and I play different styles of guitar, and that's one of the things that besides my job and sports, it's one of the things that kept me occupied when I was growing up. Um, and it's a sociable thing when you play an instrument. You're playing, as sometimes in a band, you're a part of something, and it gives you self-worth, and you have to be able to play and do your part with the other people and play in time and practice. So yeah, it's a discipline that I think it actually helped me out a lot in life. So I played guitar in elementary school for the church choir, and then throughout high school I was in a rock band, a hard rock band, and we played Metallica and stuff like that, Iron Maiden. Yeah, and we were playing in clubs, and I remember walking into these clubs, nightclubs, where we were gonna perform live, and the owners or the bouncer asking me, how old I was and asking for my ID. And I remember walking in there several times and say, "Hey, I'm in the band," and they would say, "Oh, okay, well, go on in." And it was a good time. We would play, and so all through high school I was playing guitar. After high school, I for up until high school, I was self-taught. Um, for the most part, my uncle showed me the basic chords, but then for the band and the rock band, I was learning everything by ear. But it wasn't until after high school that I decided to take lessons from a classical guitar teacher, Paul Henry. Great teacher, great guitarist, and good friend now too. He helped me out and got me a scholarship. I guess he saw something in me that he saw some potential in me, some musical potential, where he encouraged me to practice, and he would help me to get a scholarship for music school, which I attended for many years, and got my degree in music. I got a bachelor's degree in classical guitar, and then continuing on, I got a master's degree. So I think for the most, it was he helped me out with getting into school, and then continuing on, and finish. It helped me out with finishing my degree. So I think that that's one thing to be said for music, that not everybody can make a living with music, but sometimes it's more than just the money. It's definitely fulfilling in life. It's something that you're bored, or you pick up the guitar. For me, I pick up the guitar, and it's makes the time go by, and it makes you feel good. So I think that I don't have any regrets for that. And like I said, every once in a while I'll bring my guitar to the firehouse, and when there's downtime, I'll play guitar, and I might play for some of the firemen who never knew I have this this talent. And sometimes they're amazed. Other guys, they don't seem very interested at all. So that's fine. It's not for everybody. But for me, it means a lot. And I hope that that other people might if you show an interest in music or an instrument, I would encourage the pursuit of that interest to the fullest, and do your best, and never think that it's would be a waste of time, because it's I think it's a good thing for life and for temperament, and for focus. So yeah, that's what I do. I play guitar also.
That's good. Now, last question, wrapping up for the day. Do you play any particular sports at the moment?
Yes. So growing up, I played football, played basketball, but it wasn't until later that I started playing golf, and now that's my favorite sport. Because I don't play basketball anymore. I don't want any jammed fingers, because basketball and football, they're high intensity sports, and I need to make sure that I don't get hurt, because I need to be able to go to work. But golf is the perfect sport for me, because it's very competitive. It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of practice, and it's a whole lot of fun. I know for some people, I can't sit there and hit a ball, or it's so boring, but I don't think they understand fully. I think the people that do play golf, they understand. It's a lot of the times it's not, you're not playing against another opponent, you're playing against the course. And so it's kind of a personal challenge. And I got to give respect to those professional golfers. They play at a level that's it's hard to conceive, especially from where I'm at. They're really, really good, and it's a lot has to do with I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'1". I consider myself kind of strong, but with the golf swing, it's more about technique. So if you have good technique, you can have a smaller guy, somebody who weighs a lot less, somebody who's shorter, but can hit the ball a lot further, because he's got really good technique. And I think that's true for a lot of sports. Pitching, for instance, if you've got good technique, you can whip that ball a lot faster than somebody who's got a lot of muscles and it doesn't have any technique. So but that comes with the discipline. It comes with study and a lot of practice. So right now that's my focus. I love playing golf. I have a foursome group of friends, close friends, that we meet at least once a week. And if we could do it more, we would, but we have responsibilities. And golf isn't necessarily paying the bills right now, but it definitely is a therapeutic sport. So it's something that we definitely need to do at least once a week. But that's what I do. Yeah, I play golf. It's a good thing.
All right. Well, I guess that's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you once again for this interview.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And